advice. In today's Modern Parenting, we're going to keep this conversation going because high school seniors across the country are gearing up for the college application process.
Yeah, and for many students, it can be a stressful time. I'm stating the obvious here. From writing the perfect college application essay to asking for letters of recommendation, it can be a little overwhelming. So here with some ideas on how to make it easier for young adults and for families, Dr. Barry Norman. She's co-founder and head counselor of Expert Admissions. It's great to see you. Thank you for being with us. I just lived through this with 2 kids. So the biggest changes, let's talk about that first with the Common App right now. What do people need to know about what's changed?
So with the Common App in particular, I think for those parents who have been through this before and just to know in general, the essay questions have changed at so many colleges this year. And so even if you just went through this recently with another child, you can pretty much bank that it's going to look different.
And does anything look different in terms of timing, or is it still kind of there's the early stuff and then regular admission?
Timing is one thing that actually hasn't changed. Okay. So we're looking at early deadlines starting in mid-October to early November and regular deadlines in January.
And we're touching on it, right? There are so many deadlines, early decision, just general application. How can parents help their students keep track of all of those dates?
Well, in the Common App, once you start adding schools to your list, it actually creates some deadlines and some graphs and grids for you. So you can actually keep track there. And it gives you a little notification as a deadline is approaching, which is kind of nice. But you need to be organized in some way. And that's one way that parents can help.
Can we talk about the essay for a minute? In our family, I found that I kind of had to outsource that a little and not have me be the one reading the essay that my kids wrote. It can be daunting. What are your tips?
So most importantly, and this is going to sound basic, but read the question. So many students will see a similar question from school to school, particularly in the supplements, and answer not quite what the school is asking. Similar, but not quite. Each school is writing that prompt themselves. Right. That's specific to them.
And that's going to eliminate you right away if you don't answer the question.
They're not going to see you as a good fit, right? You might answer something else, and it might be a good essay for that, but it's not what they're looking for. Most importantly, this is not a school paper. Be yourself. It's a personal story, and that's the easiest and the hardest piece of advice to take.
And don't overwrite. What does that mean?
Students will overthink. They get overly formal. They edit, once it's still good. I mean, at some point, writing is a process. You should go through multiple drafts. That's just what good writers do. But at a certain point, you have to know when it's done.
I mean, briefly, we just had a whole package and report on artificial intelligence. Do you think people should be using that for their essays?
The thing about the AI piece is that it's going to generate like a well-written essay, but it won't have the personality that is going to distinguish you from the sea of applicants. So it kind of just perpetuates the problem, which is how do you stand out? And when you get something generated by AI, it's going to give you more of that generic approach.
Can we go to financial aid for a second? Because college tuition, room and board is very expensive. So for students who might need it, what's your best advice?
Well, the FAFSA is changing this year.
FAFSA is the form.
That's the main form, the federal form. Look, adhere to deadlines. I know that also sounds basic, but if you miss them, you miss them. The other thing I would make sure to do is to reach out and speak to individual colleges. They're open and willing to speak with you. Talk to them before you fill out the forms. Ask the questions. Don't be shy. It's not going to impact the award they give you, and you may get some knowledge that can help you get better aid. And there's merit aid. Don't forget about that.
No, it's so essential. I know I did federal work study. There are scholarships you can get outside of school. People should really utilize those. What about parents, though, worried that their student may not get into the school of their dreams?
From a college counselor, there are more important things than where you go to college. You have to find your people. You've got to find a place you're going to thrive. It's really more about you than where you go. It's what you're going to make of the experience. So go to a place where you can really make the most of it.
I came to think that there are so many choices. Like the more you look and the more you start investigating, there's so many great schools.
Right. And there's also a lot of places where you don't belong. And by the way, that's a good thing.
Yes.
It's a good thing to know.
I love that. Visiting colleges can help you suss that out, too.
Absolutely. In person is super helpful, but virtual programming is easy.
Amazing. Well, Dr. Barry Norman, thank you so much. And thanks for watching. We got more news ahead.